I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all members of the Council and officers in attendance at today's meeting. Welcome to the members of the public and the press who may be watching the meeting live on YouTube. I'm Councillor Alan Glass, Chairman of the Council. I'd remind all participants that this meeting is being broadcast live and will be available for repeated viewing. His Royal Highness, the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. We learned with great sorrow and profound grief on Friday of the sad news of the death of His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh, which will be felt keenly across the nation and beyond. On behalf of the residents, members and employees, I offer our deepest sympathies to Her Majesty the Queen and the royal family. This comes at a time when the nation continues to come to terms with the ongoing grief from the loss of our loved ones to the pandemic. And our thoughts and prayers go out now to Her Majesty the Queen and the rest of the royal family in sincere condolence. Our district has great pride in its Royal Association, with a strong history of connections to the monarchy. The district has had the privilege of welcoming His Royal Highness on many visits over the years, which we now remember with warmth and fondness. In a private ceremony this afternoon within the grounds of Appletree Court, I laid flowers alongside the Deputy Lieutenant for Hampshire, Hallam Mills, and they have now been placed in the council chamber. I'll be writing to Her Majesty the Queen to express our deepest sympathies and our humble and heartfelt condolences that Her Majesty and the royal family are experiencing at this time. Members, there are now 2 minutes silence in memory of Prince Philip. Housekeeping. Please all participants note that the following procedures for the meeting. I intend to follow as chairman, which have been well circulated as the council's ground rules for virtual meetings. Please could all attendees mute their microphones when not speaking, which will reduce feedback and background noise. Please remember to unmute when I invite you to speak. Please switch any other devices such as mobile phones off or to silent setting for the duration of the meeting. Please only speak when invited to do so by me as chairman, introducing yourself to the meeting if you have not been introduced by name. To indicate that you would like to speak, please use the raise your hand button on the Microsoft Teams, and remember to lower your hand once you have been called. If there appears to be a consensus for recommendations or motions this evening, I will ask members to indicate if there is anyone against the motion or the proposal. If there are no further indications or requests to speak, I will take this consensus of the council as agreeing the recommendations or motion. If a formal vote is required on a particular item, I will ask the Chief Executive to call each member of the council to vote in turn. Please express your vote verbally with for or against or abstain. A recorded vote will not be reflected in the minutes of the meeting unless this is requested or undertaken in accordance with normal procedures. When voting, I ask that all members of the council do so in the acknowledgement that they have heard the full debate of the item in question. In the event of any technical problems, there will be a short adjournment to establish if the fault can be addressed. Please bear with us in these circumstances. If an individual loses connection and the meeting can practically continue with a quorum, it will do so. Apologies for absence. There are no apologies. Members of the council in attendance will be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. Agenda item 1. Do any members have any matters to raise on the accuracy of the minutes of the meeting held on the 25th of February 2021? Otherwise, I will take this consensus as agreement of the minutes for signing. There are no hands raised. I will take that as accepted. Thank you very much. Declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest in connection with any agenda item for this meeting? Nope, there are no declarations. Chairman's announcements. There are none. Agenda item 4, acting leaders announcements. Acting leader of the council, do you have any announcements?
Chairman, other than joining in your words of condolence to Her Majesty, I have none on this occasion.
Thank you very much, Councillor Heron. Agenda item 5, report of the Cabinet, supplementary. Acting Leader, would you move the adoption of the report of the Cabinet dated the 7th of April 2021?
Chairman, I'm pleased to move.
Thank you. I understand, Councillor Cleary, that you are happy to second.
That's correct, Chairman.
Thank you. There are no recommendations for the Council from this report, but I will pause at each paragraph to see if any member wishes to speak. Para 1, COVID response and recovery, Acting Leaders Report. Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Chairman, I want to speak, my apologies, I want to speak on item 3, please.
Strategic risk register.
Yes.
Okay, when we get to it, I'll watch for your hand. Thank you very much. Item 2, Freeport's bid. Item 3, Strategic Risk Register. Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, health and well-being is particularly important for members of the community at this moment in time, even more than ever as we come out of a pandemic with the potential for mental health issues and the other aspects that this has brought upon us. And I'm really concerned that in the risk register under leisure and well-being, as we've just given the running of the leisure centres to a private company, not one of the council, we haven't got the risk in there that should Freedom Leisure go to insolvency, and the mitigation being that this authority will take over running of the leisure centres is a serious mistake and is not really showing a responsible approach to this. And I would like to see that as a risk in here and the mitigation that will protect it on behalf of the residents of New Forest. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you for your question. Councillor Edward Heron, I see that your hand is up as acting leader of the council. Would you like to respond?
Thank you, and thank you for Councillor Wade for his comments. He is correct that the leisure centres are moving to a not-for-profit company. Chairman, as part of the tendering process, the council rigorously assessed the financial well-being of all the bidders, and obviously that included Freedom Leisure. And should officers feel to advise that they think there is a financial risk that should be reflected in the risk register, I'm sure we would take that on board, but I can assure him at the moment that isn't advice that we have received from the council's financial officer.
Thank you very much indeed. Financial monitoring, 2020, 2021. Has anyone any Questions? I see no hands. Thank you. Members, the report has been moved and seconded. Does any member wish to vote against receiving this report? As I previously indicated, there are no recommendations. There are no hands appearing, so I will confirm that this is accepted. Agenda item 6, report of the HR committee. Councillor Steele, would you move the adoption of the report of the HR committee dated 18th of March 2021?
Thank you, Chairman. And yes, I have pleasure of moving this as per the item 6. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Harris, would you like to second?
Chairman, thank you. I'm delighted to second this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a single item report with a recommendation. Does any member wish to speak? I see no raised hands. Members, the report and recommendations have been moved and seconded. Does any member wish to vote against? I see no hands to raise against. I confirm the report is accepted. Agenda item 7, questions under Standing Order 22. There are none. Agenda item 8, questions to portfolio holders under Standing Order 22A. There are none. Outstanding questions have been withdrawn as a mark of respect to Prince Philip. Thank you. Agenda item 9, early retirement of Executive Head of Operations, Deputy Chief Executive. I'll move the recommendations in the report and ask the Vice Chairman to second. Vice Chairman, do you wish to second?
Yes, I do. I wish to second that motion.
Thank you very much. Does any member wish to speak on this report? Bearing in mind there will be adequate opportunities to thank Colin for his efforts in the near future at next meeting. So, does anybody wish to speak on the report? No. Thank you. Members, the report and recommendations have been moved and seconded. Does any member wish to vote against? No. Thank you. The motion has been accepted. Agenda item 10, nomination for the offices of Chairman and Vice Chairman of the Council. Members, I will first call upon the relevant members to move and second the 2 nominations for Chairman of the Council. I will first move that Councillor Derek Tipp be the Council's nomination for the office of Chairman of the Council for 2021-22. Councillor Russell, I understand that you wish to second this nomination.
Chairman, I will be very pleased to nominate Councillor Derek Tipp as Chairman of the Council.
Thank you very much. Councillor David Harrison, I understand you wish to move that Councillor Caroline Rackham be the Council's nomination for the office of Chairman of the Council for 2021-20 and 2022. Councillor Harrison, sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I perhaps ought to declare an interest because Caroline Rackham is, of course, my colleague here in Totton South, and we worked together extremely well for the past couple of years. And I think that she would make an excellent Chairman of the Council. So it is my pleasure to nominate her. And I hope that another member will be prepared to second that, please.
Thank you. Councillor Wade, I understand you wish to second.
Yes,
Yes,
that's correct.
Chairman. That Councillor Wade. Sorry, I thought you meant me.
Councillor
Sorry.
M. Wade. Beg your pardon. I forgot we had a plethora. Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Chairman. I wasn't quite sure who you were getting to do that. I thought Alex Wade was doing it. Chairman, I am happy to second the nomination of Councillor Rackham as Chairman of the Council.
Thank you
And I
very
would
much.
like to say something during the speech.
Okay. Well, I was going to go straight to the vote, but if either of the people nominating wish to speak for up to 3 minutes, I would accept that. So if I take Councillor Wade first, and then I'll go to myself for Councillor Tip.
Councillor Wade. Normally, in the 22 years I've served on this authority, I don't think I have ever voted against the person put forward or for someone else as chairman. However, despite the fact that Councillor Tip and I are irrevocably opposed in politics, that isn't the reason I'm not supporting him, and I'm supporting Councillor Rackham. The position of chairman of the council is the ambassador of the New Forest. It is the public face of the New Forest. It is the person who leads our district in the public mind. The New Forest is an area of environmental sensitivity, and I cannot support someone who is a self-confessed proposed climate change denier. And any member that supports a climate change denier for the position of chairman of this council is actually not demonstrating their seriousness into fight climate change. We have to fight climate change, or the impact of that will be far worse than anything that we've seen from the pandemic. And any member, and some of you are standing for office not for another chamber, who supports somebody who openly believes in climate change is not taking it seriously, and you will be seen as that. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. We kept it under 3 minutes. I'd like to speak on behalf of my nominee, Councillor Tip. I've now been chairman for 2 years and thoroughly enjoyed it. And during that time, Councillor Tip has been my deputy. He's served on, or come with me, or actually gone on his own to a lot of the meetings with other councillors, other meetings, and other ceremonial events, and done an extremely good job on behalf of the council. I've known Councillor Tip for an awfully long time now. I don't think either of us would like to admit how long it is. But during that time, he's always been steady, reliable, and if he says he's going to be somewhere at whatever o'clock, he's there 5 minutes before. This is so important with a chairman, to be able to get to grips with things, analyse things, speak clearly, and speak so that you can be understood. But also, I believe you need experience on the council to know the way the council operates, the rules of debate, the protocols of debate. And during his time as deputy, I know that Derek has joined in the debates and the running of the debates, and they're not as easy as they look. So I have total faith in Derek in taking over, and I'm very happy to nominate Derek. Thank you. Members, this is a contested ballot. Sorry, this is a contested position. I will now ask officers to take the required secret ballot. I'm pleased to announce Councillor Tip has 42 votes, Councillor Rackham 13, and there were 2 abstentions. Therefore, I am pleased to say that Councillor Tip is going to be the chairman for the next year. And congratulations to Councillor Tip, and my commiserations to Councillor Rackham. Thank you for trying. I'm just checking that that was live to the YouTube viewers as well, so please bear with me for a moment. I'm informed it was, so we'll now carry on. Members, I will now call upon the relevant members to move and second the two nominations for Vice Chairman of the Council. Councillor Tipp, I understand that you wish to move Councillor Alan O'Sullivan as the Council's nomination for the office of Vice Chair of the Council for 2021-22.
Yes, Chairman, I'm delighted to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Steve Davies, I understand you wish to second this nomination.
Absolutely, Chairman. I'm delighted to nominate Alan for this post.
Thank you very much. Councillor David Harrison, I understand that you wish to move Councillor Caroline Rackham as the Council's nomination for the office of Vice Chairman of the Council for 2021-22. Councillor Harrison.
Yes, Chairman, I do wish to nominate Councillor Caroline Rackham for all the very good reasons I outlined last time around. Of course, it's nothing personal at all about Alan, who I think would also make a very good Vice Chairman. But it would be very nice indeed if we at long last recognised that the Council doesn't solely comprise of Conservative councillors. And there is a long-held tradition amongst respected authorities that the office of chairmanship and vice chairmanship is shared. I'm afraid a winner-takes-all approach doesn't really do the council a great deal of credit. So I would ask members to reflect on that, and maybe Alan could have an opportunity at a future date. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Councillor Malcolm Wade, I understand you wish to second.
Yes, Chairman, I do. I think Caroline will make an excellent, sensitive chairman. And to add something to what David said, the council isn't entirely composed of middle-aged men. From a gender balance perspective, I think it will be excellent to have a female chairman of the council. And I think Caroline, and vice chairman and future chairman, and I think Caroline will do an excellent job. She's intelligent, sensitive, deeply cares about the New Forest and its people. And like Councillor Harrison, I have no problem about Alan O'Sullivan being chairman at some future date. I just think it will be nice. It'll be a good move for this council to show a 21st century attitude and elect Caroline. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Members, this is a contested position, and I'll now ask the officers to take the required secret ballot. We have 45 votes for Councillor O'Sullivan. Councillor Rackham has 13, and there was 1 abstention. Therefore, I am delighted to welcome Councillor O'Sullivan as Deputy Chairman for the next year. Thank you very much. Item 11, election of the Leader of the Council. Councillor Cleary, I understand that you have a proposal you wish to make for the position of Leader of the Council.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I do. I would like to propose Councillor Edward Heron to be the new leader of this council. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Steele, I understand that you wish to second this nomination.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, seconding. Thank you.
Thank you. Although I have not received any in advance, are there any other nominations? There are none. So I'll declare that Councillor Edward Heron is now Leader of the Council. Leader, would you like to address the Council?
Chairman, thank you. And thank you to all my colleagues for the trust that you have placed in me to lead the Council. I wish to advise Council that I will be making the following appointments to my Cabinet. Councillor Jill Cleary will be Deputy Leader of the Council and hold the portfolio for housing and homelessness services. Councillor Diane Andrews will hold the portfolio for planning, regeneration and infrastructure. Councillor Steve Davis will be the portfolio holder for environment and coastal services. Councillor Michael Harris will hold the portfolio for business, tourism and high streets. Councillor Jeremy Heron will be the portfolio holder for finance, investment and corporate services. Councillor David Russell will hold the portfolio for people and places. Councillor Mark Steele will be the portfolio holder for partnering and wellbeing. Before concluding, Chairman, I would like to place on record my personal thanks to Councillor Barry Rickman for his excellent leadership of his council over the last 12 years. Unfortunately, this is not the occasion, but I am sure many members will wish to express their gratitude to him for the service to this council and to the residents of the New Forest, and I will ensure that there is such an opportunity when we are again able to meet in person. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Heron. Agenda item 12, additional meeting date. Members, I will move the recommendation as revised by the supplementary agenda that the Council agrees to hold an extraordinary Council meeting at 6:30 on Monday, the 21st of June 2021. This meeting would be subject to the outcome of the New Milton Neighbourhood Plan referendum and scheduled to take place on May the 2021. Vice Chairman, I believe you wish to second.
Yes, Chairman, I do. I second that proposal.
Thank you. Does anybody wish to speak? No. Members, the recommendation has been moved and seconded. Does any member wish to vote against? There are no hands raised, so the motion is carried. Agenda item 13, membership of committee and panels. Councillor Cleary.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I wish to make two changes. The housing panel, Steve Davis, is to be replaced with Neil Tungate. The leisure panel, David Russell, will be replaced with Louise Sarasoli. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Harrison, do you have any changes?
No, we have no changes on our side, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 14. Any other items which the Chairman decides are urgent? Members, the supplementary agenda identifies one item of urgent business which recommends the date of the Council annual meeting is brought forward from Monday the 17th of May to Wednesday the 5th of May, commencing at 6:30 p.m. As members will now be aware, the Government has confirmed that virtual meetings will not be permitted from May the 7th onwards. Local authorities without elections have been encouraged to consider bringing forward their annual meeting, which gives the Council more time to plan for the safe return for face-to-face meetings. I'll move the recommendation for the Council's annual meeting to take place at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday the 5th of May 2021 and ask the Vice Chairman to second. Councillor Tipp?
Yes, I'll second that.
Thank you. I see I have a hand raised from Councillor Davis.
Yes,
Davies,
I
pardon.
don't. Yeah, I'm speaking. I don't support moving the date forward for this meeting. I understand the reasons why it's being proposed, but actually I think this would be a very good opportunity because I know the council chamber won't hold all of us socially distanced inside it. Could this be a great opportunity for the council to decamp to, say, the leisure centres across the district for our meetings while we have to socially distance, where you've got these big halls which could hold all of us socially distanced? It would be a great way of getting the council out in the community and making meetings more accessible. But it would also mean that the meeting could go ahead at the originally planned date.
Thank you for your question. I'll take Councillor Harrison, then I'll come to Councillor Edward Heron. Councillor David Harrison.
Thank you, Chairman. I have to say, most members will be aware that we have a pretty important set of elections coming up on May the 6th. And bearing in mind the proposal here is that we meet on the evening of Wednesday, May the 5th, I would find it hard to think of a more inappropriate date to set a meeting. Now, it does strike me as a general principle that we've had a pretty difficult time with democracy at the moment. We've had the various restrictions under COVID. Now we've got this government diktat, which allows us to have virtual meetings up to a certain time, but no longer, and they're refusing to extend it. And I do think that we're having a pretty tough time, aren't we, one way and another, conducting any sort of sensible campaign. So, Chairman, I'm afraid I cannot support the proposal that we have a meeting on the 5th of May, simply because I think it's the worst possible date.
Thank you very much. I'll take Councillor Malcolm Wade, then I'll go to Edward Heron.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I don't support it either. The government, in fact, your government, Chairman, has produced a roadmap out of the pandemic. And part of that roadmap is that virtual meetings are to cease. Now, Chairman, we have the schools open, we have shops open, the pubs are open in the garden. Thousands, a lot of people are working in a working environment. Why councillors be in some secluded bubble? Why we should be leading to get out of this pandemic safely and properly is not going to be easy for a lot of people, and we should be showing leadership, Chairman, in doing so. Now, Councillor Davis has raised a very good point that we could have these meetings in a totally safe environment in the centre of a leisure centre. Okay, we could do that. We could come half an hour early and each take a lateral flow test. There are many things that this authority could do so we could have a live meeting in a safe and controlled manner. And doing things in a safe, controlled manner, what we're expecting our society to do going forward. So, Chairman, you know, I want to show leadership and stand with the population of the New Forest, not hide behind it. And I think we should say no. We'll arrange a safe, controlled meeting sometime later in the month when our officers have time to all it, because it can be done. And to deny doing that, Chairman, I think is disservice to the electorate of the New Forest.
Thank you very much for your comments. Councillor Edward Heron.
Chairman, thank you. And I will start by saying that I don't believe we've ever had the level of public viewing that we have had since we have been having online meetings. Certainly when I look at the number of people who have viewed our YouTube clip, and accepting that some may have viewed it more than once because they found it so exciting, we could not have fitted all those in our council chamber even without social distancing. So I don't think there is much more that we could do in these present restrictions to get out into the community than actually by having these virtual meetings and broadcasting them live. May I add, even with using a leisure centre, obviously under the current social distancing rules, we would be very limited in how many members of the public we could invite in. Taking on board Councillor Harrison's point, I do accept that no one likes to pause their campaigning, even perhaps say for a couple of hours for a council meeting. But also I think that we have to recognise that those members of our staff that will be asked to facilitate what is actually quite a difficult thing to facilitate at very short notice, a council meeting for all members in a different venue with sound systems for those who perhaps need loop hearing, at the same time that they are running this election for us, I think would be putting unnecessary strain upon them. I do accept that it is far from ideal. Much is at the moment, and we are all having to make difficult choices. But members, I feel on the advice of our officers, this is the appropriate way forward, and so I would urge members to support the proposal for moving this meeting to May the 5th, and I hope that the members of New Forest can accept that we're not all out campaigning for perhaps a couple of hours.
Thanks to you, Councillor Heron. Members, the recommendation has been moved and seconded.
Yep. Chairman, if I may,
Sorry.
Tony Ring, I've had my hand showing for some while.
I have.
Beg your pardon, it didn't seem to come up on the screen. Councillor Ring, please speak.
Thank you indeed. Just a personal dilemma, but I think it might apply to rather more than myself. Ringwood Town Council has already put in process their annual meeting for that same evening. As Mayor of Ringwood, I am very much bound to be there and therefore must necessarily miss NFDC, which for me will be a considerable tragedy. I haven't yet thought of any personal way around that, but I do believe that meeting will go ahead, and that will cause a problem for other NFDC members who are on Ringwood Town. And I think, if I'm right, New Milton may well have the same problem.
Thank you very much. I understand that I now have quite a lot of people wishing to speak. Councillor Rackham.
Thank you. So I'm a little perplexed by what Councillor Heron said, that the preparations would be very involved for the staff. Surely it's better to do it at a date away from the election, which will be the next day, to give them a chance to recover. So perhaps on the Tuesday, perhaps on the week before. Having this meeting on that particular date is really difficult for the staff. It's really difficult for a number of the people involved in the Hampshire elections. And obviously, if you've got other meetings that are happening on that date as well, I really do suggest that it doesn't go ahead. And I'd also like to just point out that we do still have members who won't have been vaccinated, or at least haven't been vaccinated at this point, and therefore may not be in the full mode of having the vaccine take effect. So perhaps we should bear that in mind as well.
Thank you. Councillor Alex Wade.
Thank you, Chairman. I don't wish to obviously repeat what others have said, so I will ask, has this council and the new leader and the leadership team spoken to the Local Government Association and our representatives in Parliament to highlight their concern that government is effectively saying to all councils, you now must meet in person at a very dangerously close period of time when we've not all been vaccinated, where we might not even have the confidence to be in rooms surrounded by larger groups of people, and that actually, as he has said, having virtual meetings has proven to be incredibly successful for people watching our meetings and the accessibility for all councillors to attend meetings, and that actually extending this process just as we come out of the pandemic for the rest of the year is something that should be encouraged for all local councils. And in fact, that really this quite tight deadline they've proposed on us isn't really acceptable.
Thank you. Right, I have got Fran Carpenter and a couple of others, but could we please avoid repeating ourselves and going to items that are not relevant to the question? So,
yes, thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to say that it's not about campaigning for me or missing 2 hours of campaigning, but it is about the fact that we're in Purdah and quite a few of us are involved in the election, and I just think the day before a major election or any election is just not a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Delamere.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd just like to make the point that the idea of holding the meeting in one of the leisure centres in person would be so that we could still hold it on the 17th of May rather than just before the elections. And so all the thing about the officers having to get ready for the election wouldn't apply. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. So just to remind people, we're just talking about whether to change the date. So I've just got our Councillor Reid, then I will go to Councillor Edward Heron to sum up, and I will see if we have any vote. So I'll go to Councillor Reid, then Councillor Heron.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councillor Ring was absolutely correct. We in New Milton have our meeting on the same day, but as the Mayor, I have negotiated with our town clerk that we can bring our town meeting forward to 5 o'clock, so that those of us on the town council who are district councillors can attend both meetings. Maybe Councillor Ring could make similar arrangements with his town clerk.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. A good suggestion. I'll now go to Councillor Edward Heron to wind up the meeting before we decide to go to a vote or to accept it. Councillor Heron.
Chairman, thank you. I understand that Lymington Town Council have similarly changed the time of their meeting. I believe Ringwood is the only one that hasn't confirmed that yet. Chairman, I don't have much to add. All I would say is that it does take a considerable time. I have had discussions with colleagues at Test Valley Borough Council who do move their meeting around. And actually, even if we would go to the date of the 17th, it would involve considerable extra work for our officers and difficulties. So, Chairman, I would ask all members to support the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, the recommendation has been moved and seconded. Does any member wish to vote against?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, I will be.
Vote against.
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
against.
I have enough people declaring that we will have to do a roll call. I'll ask the Chief Executive to do a roll call. Thank you very much. I'll mute and pass you over to the Chief Executive.
Thank you, Chairman. I will run through the list of members. Whether you're in favour of changing the date to May the 5th, please say 4. If you're against, say against. And if you wish to abstain, please abstain. Councillor Alvey.
4.
Councillor Diane Andrews.
4.
Councillor Bellows.
4.
Councillor Benison.
4.
Councillor Blunden.
4.
Councillor Brand.
Against.
Councillor Brunsden.
Against.
Councillor Carpenter.
Against.
Councillor Sarasoli.
4.
Councillor Mark Clark.
Against.
Councillor Rebecca Clark.
Against.
Councillor Steve Clark.
4.
Councillor Jill Cleary.
4.
Councillor Anne Corbridge.
4.
Councillor Keith Fraze.
4.
Councillor Kate Crisell.
4.
Councillor Jack Davies.
Against.
Councillor Steve Davies.
4.
Councillor Arthur Davis.
4.
Councillor Delamere.
Against.
Councillor Dowd.
Against.
Councillor Duke.
4.
Councillor Dunning.
4.
Councillor England.
Against.
Councillor Glass.
4.
Councillor Gossage.
4.
Councillor Harris. Councillor Harris.
Oh, so he's left.
We're having a vote.
Councillor Harrison.
Against.
Councillor Hawkins.
4.
Councillor Edward Heron.
4.
Councillor Jeremy Heron.
4.
Councillor Alison Hall.
4.
Councillor Maureen Holding.
4.
Councillor Christine Hopkins.
4.
Councillor Kangarani.
Yes.
Councillor Kidd.
For.
Councillor Lane.
For.
Councillor Levitt.
For.
Councillor McAvoy.
For.
Councillor Murray. Okay, Councillor O'Sullivan.
For.
Councillor Osborne.
Against.
Councillor Penman.
For.
Councillor Rackham.
Against.
Councillor Reid.
For.
Councillor Riley.
For.
Councillor Rickman.
For.
Councillor Ring.
Abstain.
Councillor Rippon-Swain.
For.
Councillor Russell.
For.
Councillor Sevier.
For.
Councillor Steele.
For.
Councillor Thierry.
Abstain.
Councillor Thorne.
For.
Councillor Tip.
For.
Councillor Tungate.
For.
Councillor Alex Wade.
Against.
Councillor Malcolm Wade.
Against.
Councillor Christine Ward.
For.
Councillor John Ward.
For.
Thank you. There's a majority for.
The recommendation is carried. Thank you. That concludes the business of the council meeting. Thank you all very much for attending, and I'll declare the meeting closed.